What's going on YouTube? Big Dog Brett, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the University of Miami versus Florida in the upcoming opener. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll be right back. Alright guys, so let's jump right into it. We're going to be looking at the first football game of the season. It's going to be coming up on August 24th, and it's going to be University of Miami versus Florida. There's kind of a lot of things going on behind the scenes, so I'll try to get to them as quick as I can. First off, I really want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're only about 10 subscribers away from hitting the 1,600 mark, which is what I was trying to get to before the season starts, and we've got about 5 days left. So if you guys would be, you guys have been so helpful in this whole thing. I really appreciate it. If you guys could share this on social media, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you guys traffic, I'd really appreciate it. It's all because of you guys. Thanks so much. So I'm so looking forward to college football starting back up. You've got two teams that are Power 5 teams. Usually we get crappy teams at the beginning of the season. Thankfully, you know, this particular season we did not. We got really good teams. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Now, before we get into it, let's kind of talk about some of the controversy or some of the talk around the league about what's going on with University of Miami and University of Florida. University of Florida, as you guys know, has had quite a few problems. One of the problems being that they've had a lot of players that have transferred away from the team. I think it's 9 at this point. They've had 7 decommits from their upcoming recruiting class, and they have 4 players who are not even eligible to play. Some because I believe of scholastic problems. Some because of I don't know if it's being able to get a visa or exactly what's going on. And I'm not saying that as a slight. I'm saying that as I think that's actually the problem. One of the players, I think, is coming from Puerto Rico, but I'm not sure. I'll have to double check on that. But I'm sure somebody will let me know down in the comment section. That being the case, the team has been plagued by this kind of problem throughout the whole off season. A lot of it really started with Dan Mullen and some of the things he was saying about University of Georgia, kind of trying to stir the pot. I get what he was trying to do, but it just doesn't look like it's been very effective. There was a sexual assault allegation. Chris Steele, which was, I believe, one of the quarterbacks, that was roomed with the guy that was accused of some sexual misconduct. Again, I'll have to double check, but he has to be transferred. They didn't transfer him out of the team or out of that dorm, so he ended up just saying, you know what, I'm just going to transfer entirely. And it seems to have been an ongoing trend. It seems to be one after another, after another, after another. So it would lead you to question as to what kind of offseason they have had at the University of Florida and what kind of cohesion that team is going to have. Playing in big games, especially season openers, it can have a demanding effect on the mentality of that team. What kind of resilience, what kind of resourcefulness are they going to have if they get down early? And if you don't have that teamwork, that team philosophy, it can be detrimental. Now, on the flip side, the University of Miami has had its own problems. The University of Miami has had a quarterback issue. You know, Tate Martell transferred there from Ohio State after Justin Fields said that he was going to go play there. N'Kosi Perry, who everybody thought was going to be the starting quarterback, that didn't really work out. And now you've got Jarren Williams, who has been named the starting quarterback, which is interesting because last year I think he played all of 1 game and he only played like 3 passes. So they've come out and named that Jarren Williams is going to be the starting quarterback, which was kind of a surprise. I figured they would have went with a more experienced quarterback. They have Manny Diaz as a first-year head coach. Now, if we back up and we talk about, let's talk about Jarren Williams a little bit. Jarren Williams was the top 10 quarterback in the country, came out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. This guy has a lot of things going in his direction, and he's doing something that seems to be difficult for a lot of freshman quarterbacks to do, which is to progress quickly. He's progressed so quickly, in fact, that he has been named the starter. That's very impressive. This guy's a dual threat quarterback and was originally recruited by Mark Richt to play there. Mark Richt traditionally has not picked dual threat quarterbacks. He has picked pocket quarterbacks. Matt Stafford, Aaron Murray, I mean, and the list goes on and on. If you go back and you look at the quarterbacks that he's had in the past, they're all pocket passers. So to see a dual threat quarterback go to that school was pretty interesting. And now it looks like Manny Diaz is kind of recognizing that talent. According to some of the stuff that's been said by the coaches, he kind of has this instinct, this it factor. The accuracy and the arm strength are there, but there's this a little more of an edge that he has over the other quarterbacks. That's what they say. I would have to say that I think it'd have to be more than just a little bit of an edge. It has to be something profound for a guy who played in one game last year to overtake two quarterbacks, to take this job away from him. It's got to be pretty impressive. Now, Tate Martell, I think height plays a little bit of a factor. Tate Martell's 5'11". Jaron Williams is 6'2", and N'Kosi Perry is 6'5". So I don't know if it has to do with the fact that the height is an issue. I tend to think height matters, especially for a quarterback. But he is taller than Tate Martell, and he's heavier than N'Kosi Perry, which is a good thing since he's a dual threat quarterback. Going back and watching some of his highlights, the guy really does kind of have an ability to see an opening or to see a gap and be able to get the ball to whoever's open, or to realize the pocket's going to break down and get out and about. So there's some interesting things going on there. Florida has Felipe Franks. Felipe Franks is going to be the starter as far as the quarterback position goes for University of Florida. He says, that this is their guy. That's what Dan Mullen says. Great. Dan Mullen should be able to get Felipe Franks to improve a good bit, but I don't think that well is very deep. I think Felipe Franks, I think you know what you're going to get with him at this point. I think that he's going to give you what he's always given you, which is mediocre to okay performance. I don't see him in running for a Heisman, nor does anyone else. And I don't really see any reason to put a whole lot of faith in this guy as far as being some outstanding quarterback. Now, that being said, he can get the job done. And they do have some outstanding receivers at University of Florida. But as far as Felipe Franks being some phenom quarterback, I mean, he's nothing exciting. I think one of his biggest problems is that they don't have a very expensive offensive line. Now, they have some great receivers. I mean, they have some NFL receivers, but I don't think that their offensive line is going to be able to stand up to the abuse. The reason I say that is because they were very thin at that position, those positions anyway. They've since had injuries. They've had to move players around, so they're even thinner. I think this is going to play a major factor in how much pressure that they're going to be able to get in to get after Felipe Franks. I think this is going to cause Felipe Franks to do what he always does, which is break down under pressure. You get after this guy, he struggles. That's who he is. I mean, unfortunately, that's just the way that's going to go. So you can absolutely bet that Manny Diaz knows that and is going to be heavily after Felipe Franks. They're going to have to do something dramatic in order to prevent Miami from getting after Felipe Franks. I think that's going to cause their offense to spit and sputter a little bit. Now, they do have some good returning running backs. We'll see how that game goes. I just don't know that their offensive line is going to be able to open up any holes to allow that run game to really start to perform, especially with it being the first game of the season. I think it's anybody's ball game as far as that offensive line goes. Now, if we flip over and we look at the defense, their defense is pretty decent. They should be able to kind of contain some of the run. The offensive line for Miami is not as inexperienced as Florida's, but they don't really have any. They don't have a top 5 defense at Miami, not yet. They're working on it, but I think that you're going to see that they're probably going to do just enough on that offensive line to give the quarterback Jaron Williams an opportunity to throw the ball around the way he wants to. Now, that brings me to what I think is going to be a key playmaker in this game. I think it's going to be Jeff Thomas. I think Jeff Thomas, given an opportunity, is going to be a person who can really hurt Florida. Now, Florida has some good defensive backs. There's no doubt about it. They have probably 2 of the best in college football. But this guy's going to be difficult to cover. If you look at his 2017 season, he had a pretty good season. You look at 2018 season, he doubled his performance. And now I think Jeff Thomas is going to be the number 1 receiver. This guy's a speed machine, and he has some moves. You couple that with the fact that Jaron Williams, who Florida really hasn't seen, they have to find a way to disrupt this guy and to make it so he either doesn't throw the ball to Jeff Thomas or has a lot of difficulty throwing the ball to Jeff Thomas. So, to me, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to stop that guy. They've got a serviceable running back. the running back position, he's going to average 5 or 6 yards a carry, which is what you need. And that's going to keep that offense moving along. I just think that it's going to be very difficult for Florida to shut down a quarterback they've never seen. I think there's an it factor with Jarren Williams, and I think that at the end of the day, you're going to see that Miami is going to put up more of a fight than really probably what they expect them to. That having been said, and I understand there's a lot of people who's going to say why I picked the decision I picked, I think that Miami should be able to pull this off. Looking on paper, it's only a 3-point difference. I mean, I really think that Jeff Thomas is going to be that player that it's going to make it really difficult for Florida to stop that offense or to bog it down. With a serviceable running back, a couple of guys that can catch, I mean, there's a big opportunity for Miami to overtake this game. Now, the spread, the difference in points is 3 is what they're saying now. I think it's a 7.5 point. Geez, I can't even think right now. 7.5 point. It's 7.5 over under. I think that's a fair number. It's a touchdown. You get a touchdown, you win. If they go over a touchdown, then you're good the other way. So if you want to bet on the game, I mean, feel free. But as far as telling you which team I would bet on, I really think this game's going to be too close to put a finger on who's going to win this game as far as betting money. But my personal opinion is that I think that Miami's got enough with a dual threat quarterback. I think that their offensive line is going to be able to create enough room and create enough space with a running quarterback to make it very interesting. Serviceable running back, running quarterback who's got some talent and some arm strength, and some good wide receivers. I think Miami has enough they could pull this game off. Florida, I just don't know. Florida has so many different things in the fire right now. It's difficult to tell which particular way that they're going to go. Miami lost Lawrence Cager, came to the University of Georgia. That was their number 2 passing target. So that's going to make Jeff Thomas their number 1 guy. I just don't know if Florida's going to be able to handle that, even with the defensive backs they have. We'll see. But my prediction for the game, I can see Miami probably scoring 28. I would put Florida somewhere in the 24 mark. I think it being the first game of the season is going to be a huge factor as far as this goes. And I just don't think that right now Florida is put together well enough, probably in a mental state, to overcome Miami. I just don't. Of course, been wrong before. Could be wrong this time. We'll see what happens. But, some of the stats on these guys is worth looking into. But to me, I just think Miami might be able to pull this off, and I'm going to go with them. So Miami 28, Florida 24. So that having been said, I think Florida's going to be able to. I think Miami's going to be able to pull it off. I'll take Miami with 28, Florida 24. That's just the way I think the game's going to go. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. You guys have been awesome. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. I'll be doing the live game reactions. You guys will see I'm going to continue to do the How's Your Saturday, and hopefully we can get to 1,600 pretty soon. So, by the way, one more thing. When you guys watch the video, it only takes a second to hit the like button. I get it. Everybody begs for likes. It's just the nature of the business. But if you guys could hit like, that changes how it affects the metrics inside of YouTube. And it changes it, and it moves me up in the suggested category in other fields with other videos that people are already watching. And that's really what helps promote the channel. So when I say that it really helps, it really does help. Of course, it only takes a moment to hit like, subscribe, share. So if you guys would do that for me, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks so much for tuning in. And as always, God bless. Go Dogs.